Hello, today we are going to learn the meaning of 41 vibration. And it's important to understand 41 vibration because it is a prime number, and the prime numbers are the building blocks of all other numbers. Once we understand all the prime numbers, we understand all other numbers because they are composed of the prime numbers. And our understanding of 41 vibration began in the year 2019 with a research project by Starlene Brighter, where she did the extreme case sampling study to find people with the most conspicuous 41 vibration. She also did 37 and 43. I recently made a video on the meaning of 37 vibration, and so now I'm making the one on 41, and in the near future I'll make one on the meaning of 43 vibration. So I am presenting this information largely from the results of Starlene's research with her permission, and that initial research done by Starlene. In that research, she was also assisted by Clarissa Dolphin, Linda Berry, and myself. So just to give credits and sources for where this information developed. And since then, over these past 2 years, a lot of us have been working with these vibrations, especially putting them into charts of people, using them in consultations. And this has helped refine the meaning of 41 vibration. So what we have found by applying these ideas and using them is it has confirmed the meaning of 41 vibration, and it's given us a more sensitive, refined understanding. The basic meaning has held up in the application and use of it, but we've become more confident, and you learn more of the subtleties of the vibration, how it works in different contexts by using it. That's exactly what's happened over the past 2 years. So now we feel especially comfortable presenting information about the meaning of 41 vibration. Now, in Starlene's original research, and I'm just sharing what she did, she found the top three people with 41 vibration that we found biographies for are Charlotte Ray, Maurice Lamatre, I hope I'm saying that right, and Rona Cameron. And so it's this extreme case sampling study where we do not cherry pick data and we pick out the people with the strongest vibration. That sets the foundation for our understanding. Now, in July 2020, at one of our Avalon graduates meetings, we have various kinds of meetings of vibrational astrologers, we shared our latest understandings of the meaning of 41 vibration, and in many of the research meetings we've been discussing it. Here is the updated meaning of 41 vibration. An empathic connection to something creative and free-flowing. The empathic connection builds a bridge between two things, and often the expression is vibrant, such as in music, dance, or theater. The vibrancy, the empathic connection, and the integration or connection of two seemingly unrelated things brings a freshness, excitement, and sometimes even charisma to the activity and the person. So what we find in 41 vibration is that it is lively, it is vibrant. I would add to this, it's inclined sometimes to some kind of performance, to a creative expression. Music, dance, and theater show up. We also see things like comedy showing up. The vibrant expression, creative expression, and performance are very, very common. And there's something fresh and new and integrates things that have existed more separately before or were never brought together in quite the same way. Now, that's the updated interpretation. Here is the information that Starlene presented in the year 2019. Still very true, and this helps elaborate on it. And here we see two women in the upper left corner, upper right corner. They look like they're dancing or enjoying themselves on a kind of a bridge. And that's really the feeling of 41 vibration. It creates a bridge between at least two distinctively separated concepts or groups of people and forms a significant, sometimes controversial connection and relationship between them. And this, connection between different things sometimes is embedded and ingrained in the activity. It may not be that conspicuous. What's almost always conspicuous is the liveliness. often expressed as dance, music, acting, theater, this kind of restless, moving quality that 41 shares with 11, but 41's not quite as, we could say, disruptive or prone to things like anxiety or insomnia, like 11 vibration in an extreme configuration can sometimes be prone to. And here's another thing about 41 vibration. People with strong 41 vibration can work endlessly. So this commitment, this dedication, this absorption into the activity, they can work endlessly at the music, dance, theater, and progressive, vibrant ideas that they are excited about. They get excited about something and they just become enthralled with it, very enthusiastic. They have a modern approach, a dislike for being stuck in old ways. They are free-spirited, willing to experiment, and willing to be outside the box. The high level of activity and the passion and love for what they do can push them beyond their physical body's capability, and health issues can arise. So 41 is driven and can push beyond their capacity, their love, their physical capacity to handle that much activity. Their love and sensitivity for what they do pushes them to extend themselves deeply into their activities, making them vulnerable because they do not hold back. You find with these 41 vibration people, they just cut loose. They're freewheeling, often offbeat, and have a singularly unique impact. So they're freewheeling individuals. They really let it go. So the first one of the top 3 people in the study done by Starlene in 2019 is Charlotte Ray. And here's her 41 vibration chart. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 planets, Sun, Mercury, Moon, and Saturn, are within 12 degrees. And then we also have, if we leave the Sun out and we go Mercury through Uranus, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets within 14 degrees. So 14 to 15 degrees. Looks like it's closer, it's actually closer to 14 degrees. A little more than 14 degrees. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets in a stellium and grouped together in large numbers of planets there. So huge 41 vibration. Now, who was Charlotte Ray? She was an American actress. So here we see the acting. She earned 2 Emmy Award nominations for her work, and she sang. So there's the tendency often to some form of music, and she was a comedian. This often happens with 41 vibration. It's spontaneous, it's lively, it cuts loose, perfect for comedy. She played various roles in comedies which brought out her lively and vivacious qualities. Wow, is this ever classic 41 vibration? We have lively music, acting, theater. Wow, it's just her basic way of life. 41 vibration. And her deep involvement, constantly active, constantly performing, seemingly nonstop. You may be familiar with Charlotte Ray. She was known for her portrayal of an Edna Garrett in sitcoms Different Strokes and The Facts of Life. And in her roles as Mrs. Garrett, she bridges the gap between the youth and makes these connections between these children and the adult world. So there you see that bridge. The 41 is usually involved in some kind of bridge. And this is the way that Charlotte Ray was dancing across a bridge, and it was a big part of her life and career. So very often the most conspicuous thing is this vibrancy, this liveliness, this uniqueness. And also be aware that they're often bringing elements that are not often brought together or kept separate. They bring them into an integration. Some fans of her TV series may not know that Charlotte Ray was a singer and a comedian and performed in many different venues. So that 41 vibration quality of her, the full effect of it may not be known to you if you know something about Charlotte Ray and part of her work. She died at 92 years old. When she was 89, still active. This is typical 41 vibration. They are live wires. They're not going to retire early. I mean, they may retire from things that are onerous or tedious, but they want to get involved in something they're excited about. So when she's 89 years old, she plays a mom in the film Ricky and the Flash. Meryl Streep also starred in this movie. The film was about a rock band and an aging star, played by Meryl Streep, who returns home to her family to repair their fractured relationship. There again, you see the bridge, by the way, trying to repair a fractured relationship. Lively, loud, and vibrant music and issues of empathy and mutual understanding are key themes of 41 vibration. Empathy, involvement, engagement. And we see this in this last important role she played in this movie. So the crowning achievement to her illustrious career by acting with one of the greatest theatrical icons of all time, Meryl Streep, in a movie that expresses the 41 vibration narrative. This is what we see with actors all the time, that the roles that they play and that they become famous for reflect real things about themselves. So the things that they stand out in their films are not just fantasies or divorce from real life. They express something deep about the actor or actress. So that's her birth chart, just in case you're curious. Wow, Charlotte Rae exhibits the qualities of 41 vibration very conspicuously. Here's a quote from Charlotte Rae when she was 91. There are some pictures of her. At 91, every day is a birthday. In my book, I want to tell everybody to celebrate every day, to savor the day, and be good to yourself. Love yourself, and then you can be good to others and be of service to others. That look at her in the upper right corner. She's older there. That smile, almost to me a kind of impish smile. It captures a lot of the feeling of 11 vibration. Okay, Maurice, I'm not sure how to say the last name, Lamatre, second of three people with strongest 41 vibration. He was born a day after, less than 1 day after Charlotte Rae, so they have the same kind of configuration, very similar, with this stellium of Sun, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto. For Maurice Lamatre, they are with those 4 planets are within 15 degrees. And then we have Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, Moon, Mars, and Uranus, all within 16 degrees, 6 planets. Huge stellium. So he was a poet, a director, a photographer, author, filmmaker, painter, and sculptor. Again, with 41 vibration, you can feel exhausted just thinking about all the things they do. And some of these things take a lot of energy, like directing and filmmaking. He was in a French avant-garde movement called Lettrism, or Letterism. Letterism was a radical movement to deconstruct and remove traditions in art, literature, science, and politics, and replace them with a new way of perceiving and understanding. Very 41 vibration. 41 vibration is modern, fresh, exciting, doesn't want to get stuck in the mud. So we see those qualities involved in this movement. So the need of 41 vibration for movement and a modern expression that is freed from the constraints of tradition took an extreme form in the philosophy of Letterism. Letterism proclaims that a new modern way of thinking and living must replace nearly all of the existing traditional ways. This affects every area of life: art, music, theater, science, politics, culture, commerce, etc. His philosophy, just like remove all the old stuff, start fresh, create a new language, create a new way. I don't think many people embrace this. We want to keep our traditions and understand the wisdom of ancient times, but not in the philosophy of Letterism. It's a very 41 vibration way of thinking. Fresh, modern, alive, liberated. And maybe you could argue shows one of the weaknesses of 41 vibration. Remember, every vibration gives something positive, but can have negative qualities as well. We could argue that one of the negative tendencies of 41 vibration is to overlook the past and the wisdom of the past. In any way, it's very modern, very free, very liberating, very expressive. Lamatre put a lot of energy into the choreography of dances. There we go. Dances. Music and dance, very common. He made over 100 films and an endless number of artistic works. This is common with 41 vibration. They are prolific. They're high energy. They're just on the go, excited, enthusiastic. Once they tune into something they're excited about, they're independent, they're freewheeling, and they just go for it. So again, we're seeing typical expressions of 41 vibration here. Restless activity of 41 vibration and its inclination to dance, music, and theater, very clear in Lamatre's life. And he had an extraordinary number of different interests, from Marxism, various kinds of philosophies, many artistic mediums. He built many bridges between these areas of life. So he had strong focus, he produced very specific and clear things, but he also was very broad in his approach, very eclectic, and he synthesized many different things that often aren't synthesized, and that's common with 41 vibration. He built bridges between poetry, visual arts, cinema, politics, and science. He also attempted to build a bridge from an older way to a newer way of understanding life. In his later years, Lamatre lost enthusiasm for his 50-year involvement with letterism, so that's interesting. He was very strong about this letterism philosophy, but towards the end of his life, he lost enthusiasm for it. And letterism had an impact for only a short time. Not only 41 vibration bridge building, not all 41 vibration bridge building is successful. So letterism had a brief day of brief time of attention and kind of faded out. Probably, we might guess it's a little bit unrealistic, a little bit extreme or simplified, to kind of erase so many things and just start everything fresh. So sometimes 41 attempts to build bridges to find something fresh and new in a new narrative and a new way of life, but may find that the bridge was not needed after all. Okay, so there's the birth chart of Maurice Lamatre. And there he is with some of his various kinds of artistic works. He did so many different things. Okay, the last of the three people, Rona Cameron. This is all the work of Starlene, helped by several other people. These are the slides that she had put together. And Rona, born much later than the other two. She's born in 1965. But also has a huge stellium, so 6 planets within 14 degrees, a gigantic stellium. Also notice trines and squares from some planets to this huge stellium. What is going on with Rona Cameron? A comedian, television actress, and author. Very consistent. Here we have the comedy again, the lively expression, acting. She pioneered as the first female, here again we have firsts, 41 is free, is liberated, first female narrator of the Rocky Horror Show, UK Tour 2003. The narrator is typically a male drag queen, so it's usually a male drag queen. In this case, it was a female, her. She's a patron of the LGBT Youth Scotland and is an activist in supporting the Scottish National Party and the case of independence from the UK. Again, emphasis on freedom. Unrestricted expression, and we see comedy, theater, and the emphasis on independence, all key 41 vibration qualities. All three people are freewheeling, independent, modern, not stuck in the mud. So Cameron was a comedian and performed in a lot of comedies. Interestingly, Charlotte Rae also performed in comedies. Comedy requires a kind of high-intensity performance in which you are fully engaged and spontaneous and freewheeling and not inhibited. These are all qualities of 41 vibration. She was a lesbian, and she built bridges to the straight, quote, straight world by showing how the issues that lesbians face are the same as heterosexual people. So rather than just emphasizing that she's a lesbian and that's something different from what people are used to. Remember, these this is going back decades. The social mores and awareness have expanded since those days. But she's emphasizing, building the bridge from the dominating heterosexual world to the new awareness of the homosexual world, and how it's not so completely different. Building bridges to something new is what 41 likes to do. It does not like to set up wars between things. It likes to create integrations, relationships, connections. And that's exactly what she emphasizes. And that's her birth chart, in case you're curious to see it. And there she is at different stages of her life. She says, walk tall, look the world in the eye. 41 vibration is direct, strong, free, uninhibited. So conclusions, extreme case sampling study gives us a much stronger indication of what these 3 high prime number vibrations mean. There's no cherry picking of the data. And now we can also apply these ideas to charts of clients, friends, and family. Here are some examples. First we do the research, and then we put it in the real world, start using this, and we start seeing fascinating things that we overlook. Let me show you Elvis Presley's chart. Here's Elvis Presley. This is his birth chart. If we look over here at Venus at 29 Capricorn, Pluto at 25 Cancer, so they are opposition with a 3-degree orb. Uranus is square both of them. And notice how it goes. Pluto 25, Uranus 27, Venus 29. 25, 27, 29 means that Uranus is very likely at the midpoint of the Venus-Pluto. That's what makes this T-square strong. By vibrational astrology standards, these orbs are not that strong. We use very, very tiny orbs in the natal chart. But the midpoint, Uranus at Venus-Pluto, pulls it together and makes it extremely strong. And when we look at the midpoint structures, Uranus is at the Venus-Pluto midpoint 15 minutes. So there it is, Venus, Uranus, Pluto. These are the 3 common planets, typical planets we see in the early rock and roll stars. And there it is in the birth chart. Now, what happens when we look, let's go back to the Sirius software, at Elvis Presley's 41 vibration? This T-square of Venus, Uranus, Pluto is a 41 vibration. Here is Elvis Presley's 41 vibration chart. There it is, 41st harmonic chart, and there's Venus, and Saturn joins it. Venus, Pluto, and Uranus within 15 degrees, within about 14.5 degrees, and Saturn joins it. Now, 14.5 degrees is weak. We allow a 16-degree orb. So it's not a very strong Venus, Uranus, Pluto. But 2 things. Pluto is right at the midpoint of Venus and Uranus. When I look at the midpoints, there's Pluto at Venus, Uranus midpoint, 13-minute orb. When you get down to these 15-minute orbs like we see in the natal chart, 13-minute orb here, very tight. And notice this. I'm talking fast, so I'm covering a lot of information, but let me review this. In Elvis's natal chart, Uranus is at Venus-Pluto, right? Uranus is the focal planet. In his 41 vibration, Pluto is the focal point. So it's not just repeating what's in the birth chart. The planets have gotten mixed around a little bit in the 41 vibration with Pluto at the midpoint. So in both the natal chart and the 41 vibration chart, Venus, Uranus, and Pluto are making midpoint structures. And strong ones. And the 41 vibration, lively, music, dance, performance, spontaneous, building bridges, Venus, Uranus, Pluto, rock and roll. All of a sudden we see Elvis Presley much more clearly than we ever did before, because we're expecting Venus, Uranus, Pluto. But in these early rock stars, in the early stages of rock and roll, it's very often 11 vibration. If you watch the videos on those early rock stars, for Elvis, it's not 11. It's 41, reinforced in the birth chart. So it just makes so much sense. the vibrancy, the liveliness, the modern, and the bringing together different things. He's bringing together music from the a different culture that's not part of the mainstream. You have the black musicians in Nashville, Tennessee, playing in the streets, playing in their the venues that they play in, having their own little culture, and he takes that world, adds electric guitar to it, and synthesizes it in a way that's totally new and gives birth to rock and roll. And he loves, the thing about 41 Vibration is the enthusiasm. He loves this music that hasn't made it outside of the circle, the social circles that it's popular in. He just loves it. And that's the thing about 41 Vibration. They are doing things just because of enthusiasm, excitement, the feeling of liberation and freshness. And that often brings a charisma to it, which brings the popularity. Now, the fact that Saturn enters this, when we look at the 41 Vibration chart, Saturn is right in the middle of this configuration as well. If we go back to the birth chart, that means Venus at 29 Capricorn to Saturn at 25 Aquarius is some kind of 41 vibration. Maybe it's 341st or 441st, whatever it is. So Saturn joins it. And Venus, Saturn, Uranus shows up in a number of musicians. Saturn, Uranus, is very disturbing. But in, for example, 5 vibration, it's not as disruptive as it is in other vibrations. Let me show you an example of that. Barbra Streisand. There's Barbra Streisand's birth chart. And you know what? I'm going to show it to you this way. I'm going to right click, go to Customize, go to Aspects, and go to Quintiles. Here they are. This is showing that Venus is quintile, 1/5 Saturn and Uranus. Saturn and Uranus are 1/5 Moon, and Moon and Venus are 2/5, which means Saturn and Uranus are at the Moon-Venus midpoint. Now, Venus-Uranus in 5 vibration, quintile or biquintile, is extremely prone to music and dance. Not rock and roll necessarily, all kinds of music. And she was not like a hard rock kind of person. It's music, her singing, and sort of classic American modern style music of many kinds. Venus, Uranus, and 5 vibration, just prone to music and dance, extremely strong. That's what she did. And when Saturn gets involved with Venus, Uranus, it's not as disturbing, not as radical, not as disruptive in 5 vibration as it is in other vibrations. It is freeing. What it does is it makes the person follow their own calling. They have their own stamp, their own style. They will not follow and bend and compromise to what other people are doing. They've got to do it their way. But it's not usually disruptive or chaotic because the 5 vibration is so light, is so organic, is so fluid. It's not quite as disturbing. There's some disturbance to it in that it challenges what is, but it's not prone to the kinds of social disruptions that we often see with Saturn and Uranus. And that's Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand is Barbra Streisand. She has her own unique stamp. When you hear her voice, the way she performs, she does it her way. She's carved her own identity. It lifts the Saturn, Uranus, and 5 vibration, lifts the person out of the standard ways of doing things and cuts them free to make their own unique mark. So there's the Venus-Uranus inclined to music and dance with Saturn, and then also the Moon, which of course adds depth and soul to the whole thing. We have those soulful, deep musical talents of Barbra Streisand. The similarity here with Elvis is a Venus, Saturn, Uranus, but for Elvis it's in 41 vibration. And Elvis, is arguably more disruptive. He's disrupting the whole social framework, but he's not disruptive in an angry, disjointed kind of way so much. So that freedom, and Elvis is Elvis. So you get these very identifiable, unique characters. Elvis is Elvis, Barbra Streisand is Barbra Streisand. What they have in common is Venus, Saturn, Uranus. For Barbra Streisand, it's in 5 vibration. For Elvis, it's in 41 vibration. And both of these vibrations seem to integrate Saturn into the Venus-Uranus relatively smoothly, and not as much chaos and disruption, anger or hostility or fighting as Saturn-Uranus is sometimes inclined to, especially in other vibrations. So here we're seeing, the main point I want to make is Elvis Presley, is that here's Elvis Presley's birth chart. By understanding what 41 vibration is, from Starlene's research and the additional work that Clarissa and Linda and I did and other people did, working with Starlene and then applying it with clients and famous people, it helps so much with your chart interpretation. And we really have found Elvis Presley. 41, it makes so much sense. So what we find is rock stars of early rock and roll. They often have Venus, Uranus, Pluto in 11 series, like 11, 22, 44, or if it's a softer rock, 11, 33, 66, or 8 vibration. You'll see aspects in the 8 vibration just because they're fundamental and primary. There's often a lot of 5 vibration mixed in, so you'll see 5 and 11 combining together in 55 for the creative musicians. You'll see that over and over again. You see that with Jim Morrison of the Doors, and I also believe that Paul McCartney, we have different birth times for him, but one of the birth times gives him extremely strong 55 vibration. So you'll see that. And now we're learning also 41 vibration. You put Venus, Uranus, Pluto in 41 vibration. So there are different vibrations that can lead to somewhat similar results in that they're all stars of rock and roll. And recently we've been working on another vibration. I'll talk about that, but let me just say that what we've discovered does not set an absolute limit. There may be others, and we found one other that probably that very strongly appears to be involved in at least a few of those early rock and roll stars. But I'll leave that for a future video. There you have it, my friends. 41 vibration. I think that gives you a good idea and gives you a good sense of the research that was done, from the initial research of Starlene to the application of the past 2 years. And we see how very often in our research that when we take what we found through the data-driven approach, by pulling out what's in the database, through this knowledge discovery process, and then we apply it in the real world, it comes alive, and it becomes it becomes more detailed. We understand it in greater depth by applying it. And this suggests that these ideas really work. We're not running into huge contradictions between what we find in the research and what we find in practice. We're finding they're complementary. So we like to start with the data-driven research to get the basic concept and what's going on. And then when we use it, the details come to life, and charts that previously we didn't understand as well, as precisely, that explain exactly what the person is doing, we now get a clearer insight into what's driving that expression in the person's life. So that's it, my friends. 41 vibration. Thank you very much for being part of this. God bless. Namaste.